Hawthorne, if you're getting this, something's happened to me. Got mixed up in some shady business on Gorgone. Should've known better. But I landed on something big. And now this job's an itch I can't stop scratching. There's a whole research compound left of the Sprats. I think I'm close to figuring out why. But something dangerous is closer to me. Got the job through one Minnie Ambrose. Top runger who just came into some money, was offering a hefty bid card for qualified help. Trust me, her money's good. Talk to Minnie. Take the job. If I ain't gonna live to see the payday, might as well be you. Consider us even, old pal.
Well, that fellow certainly seemed trustworthy.
I've gotten jobs from some unusual sources, but this is a first. Congratulations, Captain.
I don't mean to sound prim, Captain, but there's gotta be a better way to ask someone to do you a favor.
I just want to say, we gotta take this job. This is the closest I ever been to starring in a serial drama. Only thing we're missing is a couple cameras and a soundtrack.
At least this won't be boring.
Lucky Montoya owed Captain Hawthorne a considerable debt. I believe this is what humans refer to as payback. Captain, the message contains landing coordinates for a small asteroid in the Charybdis cluster. It was recently registered to a Wilhelmina Ambrose. He was an old friend of Alex Hawthorne's. Lucky Montoya had a statistically significant tendency to encounter situations of extreme danger.
Oh, really? I thought he lost his arm gambling.
He was also the fourth best paid freelancer in the system. This had less correlation with his measured aptitudes, which rank at or below average, than with a pattern of fortunate circumstances. Based on the condition of the limb, I calculate a 92.7% chance that Mr. Montoya expired from his injuries. There is what humans colloquially call a sprat's chance in a mantisaur's den. That is a very low chance, Captain. I have transferred the coordinates for Ambrose Manor to your navigation terminal. We can travel there when you are ready. Welcome back, Captain. How can I be of assistance? What part of the colony would you like to discuss? How can I be of assistance? Take care.
Welcome to Ambrose Manor. We were not expecting company. Please follow. Do not stray from the path.
Aw, that's no fun.
Been there, little guy.
This unit cannot bring you any drinks in its current state.
Everyone all right?
Structural damage detected. Compensating. This unit can help itself. These.
Keep your guard up. Could be all manner of surprises in there.
At the very least, there ought to be something worth stealing in there.
Maybe not.
I take it back. Ain't nothing here but memories.
You lucky? Huh? Apparently not. Well, join me for a drink, Mr. Whoever you are. So who the devil are you? You certainly paint a picture, and I'm certainly intrigued. Do you see that glowing chunk of space rock? That's Gorgon. My birthright, my burden, and the bane of my existence. I hate to drink alone, and this is my third. So join me in raising a glass to Gorgon. That's right. And I take it you're the type who skips formalities, so let's get down to business. Now, what brings you to my house, handsome? I take it you didn't come all this way for the beverages, the starry skies, or the pleasant company. Are you an honest-to-law vagabond? We don't see a lot of your type around here. Oh, we don't see a lot of anyone, in fact. No neighbors means no visitors.
You're out here alone? I'd go crazy.
I'd give you the grand tour, but as you can see, the place is in shambles. In a manner of speaking, this is my family estate, but I've been living abroad, waiting for the previous tenant to expire. You're very inquisitive. Not that I mind. Out with it, then. You came here for a reason, and I'm dying to hear it. How exciting! You make it sound like something out of a crime drama. She gave him her hand in murder. Or arm, in this case. Really? Huh. Now this severed limb, did it have dark hair? Rugged knuckles? chewed fingernails, a gunslinger's calluses? The next time someone mails you a severed limb, you really ought to pay better attention. I can only think of one man daring enough to jettison his extremities on my behalf. Lucky Montoya is my personal freelancer. Fascinating man, very brooding and theatrical, always staring into space and twirling a bullet over his knuckles.
He's definitely not doing that anymore.
But if something happened to him... Oh dear. I suppose that makes him my former freelancer now? You suspect foul play? Interesting. If we're being honest, I haven't given it much thought. What a time for his luck to run out. We were in the middle of something grand, and I really can't afford another setback. Settling an old score. How would you like to be my new freelancer? There's been a recent vacancy, and I think you're well suited to the job.
Remember, play hard to get. That's negotiation.
You're awful quick to trust a bunch of strangers that broke into your home.
I'm looking for someone rough around the edges. A gorgeous, dashing scoundrel type. Incidentally, someone good with their hands. My mother, Dr. Oливии Ambrouz, worked for Spacer's Choice at the Gorgone Research Facility. She was brilliant, the top scientist in her field, until tragedy struck. One day, Spacer's Choice shut down all research and evacuated Gorgone. Everyone had to scramble or risk getting left behind. It was chaos. Employees fled for their lives. Mother never made it home. I'm told she wasn't the only casualty that fateful day. Mother's name has since been dragged through the mud. Spacer's Choice blames her for the collapse of Project Gorgone, and I just know they're lying. Everything you can imagine and more. Dereliction of duty, circulating anti-corporate memos, taking longer than average coffee breaks. The list goes on. Mother would not have allowed Project Gorgone to fail. Something happened on that asteroid, and my family took the fall for it. I don't know. And Spacer's Choice won't say. They don't discuss anything that tarnishes their brand. Gorgone has a dark history. The project fell apart. Personnel were shuffled across the system. With Mother gone, now I'm all that's left. Father lost more than his job on Gorgone. I'll say no more than that. The asteroid may look like a glittering jewel, but I assure you the resemblance ends there. Gorgone is poisonous to the core. One might even say cursed. Whatever happened on Gorgone wasn't Mother's fault. I simply need the evidence to prove it. We're going to drag the truth kicking and screaming into the light. Even if it means bringing ruin and humiliation to Spacer's Choice. I hope that won't be a problem. Just in case any of your corporate sympathies were giving you second thoughts. Glad to hear it, Captain. All the evidence I need should be in Mother's journal. You can find it in her office on Gorgone, in the heart of the old research facility. I'm not surprised. Between the family drama and the corporate conspiracy, it must feel like you've stepped on a landmine. Speak freely, Captain. I suspect it will prove that corporate greed and incompetence were to blame for the calamity at Gorgon, and not Mother. Mother was a brilliant woman. Difficult, cold, unreachable even, but brilliant. Spacer's Choice evacuated in a hurry, leaving a fortune's worth of equipment in their wake. Mother's journal would have escaped their notice. This is my last hope of redeeming the Ambrose name. I don't like my chances, but I have to try. And I need help. Your help. You know as much as I do, I'm afraid. Spacer's Choice abandoned Gorgon, but the asteroid is far from unoccupied. Between the marauders, the wildlife, and whatever escaped the labs, danger abounds. Toward the end of the project, I heard Mother grumble about some test subjects running amok outside of their enclosure. I wish I could tell you more. Just watch yourself. If you aren't careful, you stand to lose more than an arm. I didn't want to go anywhere near Gorgon. Once I exhausted all my options, the search led me back here. I even had Mother declared legally dead. Would you believe it took 5 years to process the paperwork? Mother's body is still on Gorgon. No body means no death certificate, which means no inheritance. I killed Mother, just on paper, of course, so I could claim my inheritance. We wouldn't be standing here if I didn't have access to the family fortune.
Damn, wish I'd thought of that.
I once assumed the mansion and the money would be enough to redeem the Ambrose name. But even in Byzantium, prestige must be earned, and it can so easily be lost.
You know, some people work hard just to break out.
Break back into high society, yes. I'm trying to do several things at once. None of them easy. The smear campaign against Mother was the work of cowards. I'm vindicating the family name for her, for the colony, and for my future. At the very least, I can guarantee that we learn from our mistakes. A failure on the scale of Project Gorgon should never be allowed to happen. This colony is in trouble. The lunatics at Spacer's Choice are running the asylum, and we need better people to wield their influence. After Gorgon, I quickly discovered that the Ambrose name was cursed, for lack of a better term. I had no place among the decision makers. No seat at the table.
That's Byzantium for you. Gossip mongering's a bigger sport than tossball.
That is why I'm clearing the record and vindicating the Ambrose line. For Mother, for me, and for the generations who will one day inherit Halcyon. Thank you, Captain. You won't regret this. When you reach Gorgon, pack a weapon you trust. The corporate lockdown hasn't stopped the wilderness from squirming in through the cracks. I told him everything I've told you. Just the facts. Maybe a couple of harmless embellishments. Why? There's a little saloon near Gorgon's landing pad, the Sprat Shack. Lucky was renting a room, so if you want to follow his trail, that would be the place to start.
I think I've heard of that place. Cheap whiskey, rough crowd. You'll love it.
Ought to stop in and taste the local flavor.
Just so we understand each other, money is no object. I'm willing to squander the family fortune if you get me what I want. Between your payment and any salvage you happen across, you'll walk away from this rich enough to buy a mansion of your own. How does that sound? The cash? No one's ever done this before, and the only person who tried is a corpse. Believe me, that's enough. Here's your nav key, Captain. Safe travels. A word of advice before you go, Captain. Trust no one. Mother's office is in the heart of the Gorgon facility. You're free to salvage anything that isn't nailed down. I only want what's mine.
Salvage rights and a paycheck? This is almost too good to be true.
It's not theft if she's giving us permission.
Forgive the mess. I'm still unpacking and everything's covered in dust. The pleasure is mine.
This unit is under construction. For your maintenance.
We are now in orbit above Gorgon.
I don't know what kind of mess Spacer's Choice made here, but it figures they'd leave it to someone else to clean up.
that what my thoughts sound like? Law, I've been standing near that alarm too long. You looking for supply, stranger? Let's stock up here. If you run low on bullets out in Gorgon's far reaches, there ain't no one round here liable to help you out. Let me know if you're looking for something particular. Huh? Oh, you don't gotta worry about that. Something to do with that scrap project Gorgon from years back. Thanks for turning it off, by the way. I'd have lost my mind if the damn thing had gone on much longer. We tried. Couldn't persuade the control terminal to listen. No one round here is particularly mechanically inclined, and no one was gonna shut it down by force. That's for sure. I know, because even Von Hoffman couldn't bash it in. And I seen that tough son of a gun throw a man clean across the Sprat Shack one time like he were a toss ball. Only that Spacer's Choice shut it down in a big hurry. From what I heard, some of their folks got left behind even. Don't seem like the project ended well. Found a pickaxe in the mine like none I've ever seen before. Could be awful useful if you're the violent type.
Whatever happened here, we're not gonna be next. Be ready.
Come here. Let's have a chat. All right, inspection time. Look at my eyes for as long as you can without blinking. Starting now. Did I stutter? Just do as I say. I could do without the sass, but that's good enough. You're cleared. That was a sanity check. If you had changed like the others, it'd be in your eyes. You'd also be drooling, cursing, and making a mess of the place. Welcome to the Sprat Shack. You can head on downstairs. Every day, salvagers and scrappers set out to comb the ruins and make their fortune. The ones who come back, they aren't always the same men or women who left. They change. Never for the better. First, they get real twitchy and paranoid, shouting at folks who aren't there. Then they smell like they soiled themselves, on account of how they soiled themselves. After that, they're gone. Nothing but animals wearing human skin. Seen it happen myself. It's never pretty. This is the Sprat Shack, the most remote watering hole in the system. Rule number 1, no fighting. Rule number 2, wipe your feet on the way downstairs. We're the only hospitable place on this rock. I want to keep it that way. That's why we have rule number 3. When people change, they stay outside, where they belong. Watch yourself out there.
Smell that? Cheap whiskey and stale cigarettes. My kind of place.
Been an age since I had a good trip of kale. Hope they've got it on tap.
Are you my agent on the ground?
Sorry?
I've been sent to meet a certain someone about a certain piece of merchandise. They're supposed to use a secret code phrase.
Can't help you. Did you bring the payment?
I don't know.
Welcome to the Sprat Shack. First one's on the house, and I won't even water it down. What'll it be? Bottoms up. I assume you're here for salvage. Most of my regulars are sublight scavengers. They pick over the ruins of Gorgone, spend their earnings at the bar, and head back out the next day. Vicious cycle, but that's life. You're the first new face I've seen in a while. Lucky. Sure, I knew him. He could get a little dramatic at times, but he was a good guy. Heard he took on a dangerous job. Spent a lot of time coming and going from the Office of Creative Incubation, just down the road. That's where the top rungers at Spacer's Choice came up with slogans and marketing. Lucky never told me why it was so important. Awful shame about what happened to him. You really want to hear my story? Law, most everyone around here is sick to death of it by now. Last I saw of Lucky was a few days ago. I went outside for a smoke and a stroll, and I saw this wild canid dragging a bloody limb. So I kicked the canid, scared it off. Get this, the canid was chewing on an honest-to-law human arm. Lucky's arm. I'm a bartender. Attention to detail is my middle name. Anyway, the arm was clutching a phonograph that mentioned someone named Alex Hawthorne. I did some poking around, and this Hawthorne has a reputation among the salvagers who frequent the bar. So I packaged up the arm nice and tidy and sent it care of the Halcyon Parcel Service. They even gave me a discount on the hazardous waste removal stamp. I figured Hawthorne would want to know what happened to his pal. Help Lucky get his affairs in order, you know. Oh, I hate to see people go with unfinished business. No kidding. And now you're here? Colony feels smaller than you'd think some days. I'm glad I was here to see this confluence of events, you know? The stars really aligned on this one. And here I am, smack dab in the middle. 3rd floor. Once I figured he wasn't coming back to pay his tab, I left his room unlocked to air it out. You can help yourself to anything you left behind. Fair warning, I've been letting the regulars use it for a quick lie down. Just wash your hands when you're done. Trust me. Yes and no. The Sprat Shack used to be a shipping and receiving warehouse during the old Project Gorgon days. When Spacer's Choice pulled their guys off-world, Sublight moved in to salvage what we could, and they put me in charge. Yes and no. Rumor has it there's a Sprat wandering around the Groundbreaker, and he's the legal owner of the Sprat Shack. Hagen's idea. See, Hagen didn't want a paper trail that led back to her, so she gave the bar to the Sprat. If there were any legal problems with this place, the Sprat would do the time.
You know, they do something similar in Byzantium. Fancier system, but same idea.
Anyway, that's what the paperwork says. I don't make the rules. Easy. His name's Matt. The beautiful thing is, no one could tell Matt Sprat apart from an ordinary vermin. I think that's kind of the point, to send the authorities on a wild Sprat chase. Never thought about that. Shit, someone could have eaten my boss. As far as business arrangements go, this one's a head-scratcher, but they say it's all above board, so that's what matters. What's your pleasure? Thirsty people come and go from all over the colony, mostly on the way to somewhere better. Some are well-connected, and not everyone pays with bits. That's how we get the unconventional goods anyhow. Sublight keeps us well-stocked with the essentials, by which I mean booze. Come back when you're thirsty.